Right, so let's move on to the Trent stuff because you're all very kind and I was late today, so I'm going to get straight into it. Um, let's start off with the post or the information from Sasha Tavolieri that's been, I guess, posted and spoken about everywhere. And I wanted to get your interpretation of the last part of this post, so bear with me as I read this out. So it says, Sasha Tavolieri said that Trent Alexander-Arnold has turned down multiple or numerous contract extensions at Liverpool and hasn't got to the number that he wants. He goes on to say that it's a financial one that he wants. It's the financial one being the reason he hasn't signed on yet with Liverpool. But it's the last part of this that confuses me. So this piece reads, he added the 26-year-old has not yet agreed on a move to Madrid despite desire for him to be there. So he's pointing again to a landscape that looks like, in his opinion, Trent wants to go to Real Madrid. But it kind of leads me into a piece that I read from Paul Parker, former Manchester United player, said, if Trent thinks he can jog back at Real Madrid, the fans will be waving white handkerchiefs at him in no time. Every time I watch him, he doesn't seem interested in defending. He plays for himself, wandering around, jogging, letting others do the hard work, and when they concede, he doesn't even show remorse. They, Liverpool fans, want to sing his praises after one flashy pass but ignore his shortcomings. Why can't we just say he's a poor defender? So, I very strongly disagree with Paul Parker with regards to Trent being a poor defender. I've never really, excuse me, fully understood this narrative. Could he be better at certain aspects? Absolutely. But I disagree with that. And look, I agree with the not running back part of the times. We've dealt with this on the channel before. But I do think Trent cares when we concede. Sometimes, his body language isn't great. I'll be the first to admit that, but I would disagree on his level of defending. I think this season we've seen an improvement in Trent, and I've mentioned this many times. I've seen much of an improvement in his one-on-one defending. Even when Bradley was in yesterday against Lille, he was being asked to get forward and we were still vacating the space there. So I don't think that's necessarily a Trent issue. I think that's a system issue. But I do feel that the more this drags on, it's looking more and more likely to me that he goes to Madrid, but it's just an opinion. And I've said this all the way, and I'll say it again. I don't know what's going on in his contract situation, but every day that we wake up and we read stories or we read links, there's not many positive ones out there, even from former Liverpool players. I've read a few today from Glenn Johnson, who, again, thinks Trent should maybe head to Madrid. Carragher and a few others think his head's probably already in Madrid. I don't know what to make of it. But I am a little bit surprised that the club haven't put a time frame. Or maybe they have. Hey, maybe they have. Maybe we just don't know about it. But a little bit surprised by that one. David Massett said, we don't really know what's going on with Trent, but if he doesn't want to sign, let him go this month and try to get Hakimi. I don't see a world where Trent goes this month. I think it would be stupid of us to do it this month. And I kind of agree with Gary Neville. And I don't say that very often, David. But I agree with Gary Neville when he spoke about the Real Madrid offer earlier this month being almost an insult to Liverpool. Because that's definitely how I felt about it. But look, we just want to know what's happening. We just want to know what's happening. I don't know what to go with the Trent situation. I know that it's dragged on too long. And I know that we're all scared. Because that's what I think it comes from a place of fear, right? If you think the girlfriend doesn't want you anymore, you start to think in your head, feck her and all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But I really just don't understand the whole Trent thing. If it's a money thing, which at least Sasha Tavolieri feels like, then I think we have to have a conversation about FSG, Hughes and Edwards lowballing players. Because if Canade hasn't signed it because it's not an offer he's happy with, if Trent hasn't signed it because it's not an offer he's happy with, Mohamed Salah and Virgil haven't signed them because they're not offers they're happy with, there is one common denominator there. So I'm going to ask you for the first poll of tonight, do you think the club are lowballing the players? Because we don't know, because you and I aren't in there. We don't know. We have to try and figure this out together. And I just want to engage how you're feeling. So one sec. So, first question is, are the club lowballing the contract offers? And again, I want to see how we're feeling about it, because for not one of the boys to have signed it, whether it's Ibu, whether it's Mohamed, whether it's Virgil, whether it's Trent, we know they all have an offer on the table. And we keep hearing lines like their offer remains on the table. But they're not going to be signing these things if they don't like them. And it's not going to suddenly change overnight. If you get an offer and somebody makes an offer for your house and you say no, you're not going to ring up a month later and go, actually, do you know what? I'll take the low offer. No, you value something at something, whether it's yourself, your career or whatever. And you want the number that you want. And if it's not getting there, there surely has to be some movement. Normally, first offer's a low ball one, but it's not a first offer, Ryan. It's not. Remember, man, these conversations have been going on for a year or 9 months. So today, Chris Wood, close to agreeing a new contract with Nottingham Forest. Manchester United, Diallo, new deal. Pep Guardiola, City, new deal. Haaland, new deal. But our club seem to be unable to get these things done without fuss or drama. And there has to be a reason for that. It's not on you or me to make these decisions. We can have an opinion on it, of course, but Stevie Boy said, in the worst case scenario, all three leave. Do the owners go out and spend the money? I think that adds to my fear, Stevie Boy. Because some people may feel yes, some people might feel no. What I feel would happen in that scenario, if the worst came to the worst, and for what it's worth, Stevie Boy, I don't think it will. No, I don't. I believe they'd go out there and bring in players that they think could eventually get there after some improvements from Arna over a season or two. But that would be, again, us having to wait to evolve again and fill in some really, really, really big, important positions. So no, I don't have the faith that they would, mate. I believe they'd cheap it out. Right, so the question that we've asked, if you're just joining us and you'd like to take part in the poll, is, are the club lowballing the contract offers? And the reason I asked the question was because we know Trent's rejected offers, multiple ones according to the report today. We know that there's offers on the table for Virgil and for Mohamed that haven't been signed. And we know that Canada himself has acknowledged that he's had an offer, but he hasn't signed it yet. So I'm wondering if they're lowballing. And it's particularly disgusting if they're lowballing the likes of Canada, by the way, who's only proven himself since he's come in. And I think as a future captain, potentially. I really do think that Ibu loves the club. I think he wants to be here. You can see PSG and others wanting to sign him. But he wants to be at Liverpool. And I think we should acknowledge that and tie him down for as long as possible, because he's absolutely sensational. Anthony King said it's all about lining their pockets. It's all about profit, said Q. Is it 08? 0895, sorry mate. It's been a weird month, hasn't it? There's been a lot of anxiety and frustration amongst Liverpool fans for different reasons. Some feeling uncomfortable that we're top of the league but feel like it might unravel a bit. Others feeling like people like me that are maybe asking for a signing or two are being too greedy. And then others who just don't know what's going on but are a little bit confused by feeling the way that they do in a situation that we're in. Because on the face of it, a lot of these people are right. We are top of the league. We're perfect in the Champions League, 7 from 7. And there's a lot to be happy about. But there's also a lot of uncertainty, right? And there's a lot of the unknown now with the contract situations. And it's going on and on and on. And it is starting to undermine some goodwill, I think, at the very least,